We have an increasing population of bears in the Estes Valley. And in my opinion, the increase in bears has been because we have supplemented their natural diet with human foods. We've got dumpsters, trash cans, bird feeders, hummingbird feeders, pet food that gets left out, and that supplements the bear's natural diet.
We back up to the National Forest as well as Rocky Mountain National Park, and so they live in those open space areas as well as in our neighborhoods.
We share our landscape with an array of wild animals, including black bears. It's one of the things that makes Estes Park so special. It's a place where people, wildlife, including bears, can come and live together.
People come to Estes Park to see all the wildlife we have, and especially bears are a treat because they're a little bit rare to see.
So in the park we estimate we have 20 to 24 bears. That's park-wide, east and west. A lot of people are surprised that it's such a low number, but we live at a high elevation habitat that isn't super productive. So it's the right amount of bears for the park. We do know that our bears frequently cross the park boundary, so bears from the park go into town, bears from town come into the park.
When a bear finds out what a refrigerator is, that's when things really become a problem. So.
They normally like berries, and they really don't prefer trash food, McDonald's. But if the berries are not developed, they're starving because they've been in hibernation for so long.
We live in the Estes Valley. We're very fortunate to be here, but we have to learn how to live with our wildlife. They were really here first, so in order to do that, we have to educate ourselves how to protect our wildlife, because they can't necessarily protect themselves from humans. We have to protect them from human contact.
Bears have extremely sensitive noses, and they can smell food from a long distance away. And they get habituated to food sources that are really easy to get and high calories. So a few years ago, I remember we had problems with people putting trash out behind the businesses and restaurants along the main street in town.
They're attracted to good food. And you can take a good restaurant in this town, and if that restaurant does not have its dumpster closed, the bears go to those restaurants. They choose those wonderful incentives that are in that dumpster.
They're attracted to food sources, especially garbage and bird feeders, pet food, and you know, if you leave your window or door open and they smell something good, they'll come visit.
Bears can create a danger to citizens of Estes Park or the visiting population of Estes Park, as we are a tourist destination. We have to be careful that we are locking up our homes, locking our doors, not keeping food items inside where it would attract bears into garages or inside for an example, inside an open window of a kitchen or a house. Even inside cars. Some folks might leave trash, they might leave food items inside of a car and then go hiking, which is fine. But it's always recommended to lock the doors and roll up the windows, because believe it or not, bears can actually get inside cars, in which they have, and it's incredible the amount of damage that they can do to inside of a car.
One day I got a call from a bed and breakfast in town, and they had a mom and 3 cubs up a great big ponderosa tree just behind the bed and breakfast. And they were really concerned that the bears were going to drop down on people, which bears would not do that. They climb up and they climb down. They don't actually drop down on people.
When bears do become conditioned to human food and really associating that with a source of food, they can become more aggressive. That can result in encounters with people where there is some aggressive behavior, but it also often results in property damage. The other problem for bears in particular, these high-use areas have a lot more cars, vehicle traffic. So bears sometimes get hit by cars just by being in those human use areas and being drawn to those areas.
When somebody becomes between the bear and its food source, that can be dangerous.
if a bear's not in its natural habitat, it shouldn't be allowed to stay. They should be discouraged, and you should try to scare bears off that are not in their native and natural habitat. But a bear out in nature doing what they should be doing, I can't encourage people more to respect them, give them space, but enjoy them. I mean, they are fascinating, extremely intelligent creatures.
Secure your trash using wildlife protective containers, wildlife resistant enclosures, or as I said before, locking your car doors or keeping your windows shut, doing everything possible, which includes barbecue grills, bird feeders.
Take care of your garbage, you know, keep it inside in a bear resistant container. Don't attract bears with any kind of food source. Of course, it's a very bad idea, as well as being illegal, to intentionally feed bears.
I feel it's our responsibility to take care of the wildlife. And some people love wildlife, but they seem to have sort of a disconnect about all wildlife. They like to feed their birds, disregarding the fact that it could be the death of a bear.
Bears are an important part of our natural environment. As people, it's important that we remember that what we do can alter a bear's behavior. So our actions can save the life of a bear.
Well, bears are amazing animals. They're beautiful to watch. You don't really see them very often, but if you've ever seen a mama bear and a couple of cubs wandering along, there's no cuter sight.
People should have the opportunity to view bears, have this wonderful experience, but to do so from a safe distance, to observe them doing natural things like ripping open a log to look for insects. You know, that's all a part of the magic of being at Rocky Mountain National Park.
We believe with all the efforts that have been going on in town, the educational programs put on by our organization, Bears R Us, as well as all the programs and the media attention given to the issue by your newspaper, Estes Park News, as well as the Bear Education Task Force and Colorado Parks and Wildlife, I believe we can teach people to peacefully coexist with these magnificent and amazing animals.
It's our responsibility to keep bears wild. Bears that aren't trained to find food around people are more likely to avoid our neighborhoods and our businesses and to find food naturally in the landscape.
The best way that we can coexist with bears is for us to take responsibility that it's really a people issue when bears become habituated. It's because either we ourselves or someone before us has taught that bear, because they're very smart, that by behaving in a certain way or coming to a certain area, that they'll get that food reward. And so, again, it's really our responsibility to coexist with bears because bears can't go anyplace else.
You know, once in a while, you know, they'll make a mistake, similar to a mountain lion. Even though they're omnivores, they will, you know, kill a deer fawn, an elk calf, and be predators as well. And so it's possible, and it's usually going to be a child that would be attacked.
They have trapped bears and put them hundreds of miles away, and they still come back to the area where they were causing problems to begin with. So it's not fair to the bears to leave food out for them.
The Estes Park Police Department receives a lot of calls for service for wildlife issues in the Estes Valley. Particularly in the summer months, when the bears have come out of hibernation and they're coming into town because they may smell the different smells. It's very enticing. They may smell caramel corn. They smell all those good things that even us enjoy eating. When we get a bear call in the town limits of Estes Park, a police officer may respond. Mainly it's to ensure the public safety, ensure that no one is approaching the bears or becoming a danger to themselves.
We used to have a so-called 3 strikes policy where we were able to move a bear 3 times before we had to euthanize it, and it just doesn't work. You know, bears are very territorial. We've moved bears hundreds of miles away and they'll return. I can give you plenty of examples where I've trapped bears at Estes Park and moved them as close to Wyoming as possible, and they'll be back in less than 2 weeks. Very seldom is it effective. If it's a young bear and it's looking for a territory and we have an open territory, that's a possibility. But an adult bear moving it just does not work.
Having bears around and wanting to respect their space really has affected our regulations in the park. Some things that we have done is in our backcountry campsites, during the summer season when bears are active, we require food storage canisters. These are things that people have to carry in. They are a little extra weight, but people have really embraced it because they know you put your trash, you put your food in there, it's secure, a bear can't get in, they can't get food rewarded, and that means that in the future, we won't have aggressive behavior, especially in the backcountry. In our front country campgrounds, we've also installed nearly 200 food storage lockers, which gives people a safe place to go ahead and put their food, again, keep it secure and have it in an inaccessible area to bears. And we do require that food storage. So, either in that food storage locker or securely locked in your vehicle away from sight, because when those things don't happen, that's when bears investigate, do damage, and get food rewards.
I have just the most respect and love for bears. They are just the most fascinating animal to me, and bears are just so intelligent and just so amazing to watch. I don't know what surprises me the most about a bear other than just being in their presence, especially a bear in the wild, in nature. They're just so fascinating to watch.
Through our educational programs, we're hoping to inspire and motivate people to really appreciate black bears so that they don't end up like this one. We can do our part to save the life of a bear by keeping attractants like trash in a bear-proof or resistant trash container, and not hang bird feeders and hummingbird feeders during the summer months when bears are out of hibernation from April to November. This is a bear that was attracted to a neighborhood because of trash and bird feeders and hummingbird feeders.
Bears can be a lot of fun. They're great to look at. We love them here in the Estes Valley. We just need to do our best to protect them. And it's our responsibility as citizens and visitors from no matter where you're at in the world who come to Estes Park, we got to protect our bears. We want to see them, we want them to thrive, and certainly it's fun to see those cubs.
I just wish people would take this whole issue more seriously. I think as we have been able to shut down these dumpsters, there are people in town that say, I don't see why I have to shut my dumpster down. I've never had a problem. That's because other people that have had problems have shut their dumpsters down. And believe me, that bear will find your dumpster. So everybody has to get on board. It's like, where's the weakest link in the chain? I'm going to tell you, that bear will find that weakest link and get rewarded, and it will continually come back. And then we might have a serious problem about keeping that bear alive.
There's people out there, well-meaning people that feed bears either intentionally or unintentionally, that are responsible for that bear's death. We've seen it time and time again where a bear, it might be a cub from a female that has shown it, this is the way to be a bear, going from house to house, hitting garbage and bird feeders, and then it gets bolder and bolder, and especially if somebody's intentionally feeding the bear, it does property damage. It enters a house and it ends up being euthanized. So, even though they think they're doing the right thing, and that goes along with, so many species of wildlife, elk and deer, and I think the message is let wildlife be wild. Don't try to domesticate everything, and it's not to their best interest.